When you first open Digital Scrapbook Artist, you're presented with a startup wizard, and from here you can start with a theme, open saved work, view tutorials, or start with a blank page. For this demo I'm going to start with a blank page. When you click on that, the first thing that you see is a content pack manager, and this is where all of your graphics and embellishments are organised. They're all organised in digital kits, so if I click on the Blustery Spring kit down here, you can see that has a lot of embellishments you can use, backgrounds, photo frames, materials, and an alphabet, etc. So the first thing to do will be to choose what digital kit you want to use, and for this demo I'm going to use the Dollhouse kit. And I can click Add Whole Pack, click OK, and then all of those items within the Dollhouse kit are now organised for me down the left hand side. Here we've got all of our embellishments, my backgrounds, photo frames, materials, etc. And now it's just a case simply of dragging and dropping these items onto the page to start building up your scrapbook. So I might start with a background. As I say, you can just drag them on. I'm actually going to choose this light coloured background for my scrapbook. Then probably the next thing to do will be to decide what photo to use. And I'm going to start by bringing on a photo frame. I think I'm going to use this one. And then if you go up to the Photos tab, that's empty at the moment, but if I just click the Add button, I can then scan my hard drive to pick out any particular images that I might want to use. And I think for this one I'm going to use this picture here. Now once your photos are in the left hand side, you can literally just drag them onto a frame, and you can see that that's now automatically snapped to fit within that frame. Now if you're not particularly happy with the position of it, it's very easy to change. We can click this crop button, and once you've done that you can then just drag the image around to get it in exactly the right place that you want it within the frame. Now all objects within Scrapbook Artist, when you bring them on, have little handles around the outside of them, and these you can actually use to resize your object, and you can also use this little handle at the top to rotate it. So I'm just going to rotate that round a little bit there. Perhaps the next thing will be to bring some embellishments onto the page. So if I click on the Embellishments tab, you can then literally just start dragging and dropping any embellishments you want to use onto your page, and you can rotate them and resize them in the same way that I did for the photo frame. So I'm just going to bring a few embellishments on. Now you may have noticed when I've brought those embellishments on, I've actually just brought them on top of the photo here. Now I might actually want to have these embellishments beneath the photo, and that's very easy to do. If I select the object that I want to move, using the Arrange tab down here, I can then choose to send that embellishment to the back, and I'm going to also send this one to the back and this one. With Scrapbook Artist it's also very easy to add shadows to them, so if we wanted to make them look as if they're lifted off the page a little bit, all I need to do is click an embellishment, choose the shadow tool at the top here, and then I can literally with the shadow tool just drag a shadow into the position that I want, and I'm going to put that shadow there, and then I can literally just go through the rest of these embellishments and just add a few little shadows on to lift them off the page. And I can even do that with my photo frame as well, so I might just drag a little shadow onto that frame there. Now if you want, you can actually move items all together, and you can do that by dragging a box round multiple items, and now it's kind of selected all of those items together, and I can now move them around the page as one group. So I'm just going to move these down a little bit. Now I think the next thing to do will be to add a title to the page, and again on the left hand side I can click on the Letters tab, and here are all the letters within the Dollhouse pack. Now I can drag these on one by one, or alternatively if I delete these, I can type in an entire title. And then if I click Insert, you see all of those letters that I've typed out now appear on the page. And the really good thing with these types of letters is that they're all still separate objects, so I can very easily move them all individually. And I might want to say make this beautiful word bigger, bring girls up there a bit, and bring our there. So you can kind of jumble them up a little bit just like you would do with a normal scrapbook. Now if you wanted to add a journal entry to your scrapbook page, we can do that using the normal text tool. I think perhaps what I'll do to start with is just go back to my embellishments and bring this little scrap of paper on to write my journal entry on. And then I can go to the top and select the text tool here, and I can literally just start writing anywhere I like on my page. So I'm going to start here. And text works in exactly the same way as all other objects. I can move it around, I can rotate it a little bit. Of course, with text you're also going to want to change the font, so I might choose a more freehand type font for this. I can justify it so it's in the centre. I'll just make that a bit bigger, and of course I can also change the colour very easily, so I'll make this purple. So that's the general concept behind the product. It makes it very easy just by dragging and dropping elements onto the page to create really nice looking scrapbooks. Now with Scrapbook Artist though, there are some very much more creative tools you can use, and perhaps the first tool to talk about is the brush tool. And once I select the brush tool, we can see here under the brushes tab I've got all different types of brushes I can choose from, ranging from air brushes to things like acrylic paint, charcoal, pastel, etc. So let me just zoom into the corner of my book here, and if I select the pastel brush, I can then literally draw on the page. I can change colour, so I might want to sketch on some grass down here. And if I was to zoom into this area, you can just see how realistic these pastel strokes are. They look just like the real thing. Now within Scrapbook Artist, we didn't just add normal kind of painting brushes that you might find in a drawing program. We've also added lots of brushes that are very specific to scrapbooking, and these include things like flowers, glitter, confetti, all this type of thing. And again, if I wanted to paint something in glitter, I could just choose a glitter brush and just spray some glitter on. Okay, let me zoom out again. Now the final thing to show you is that Scrapbook Artist has the concept of materials. And if I go to the Materials tab on the left hand side, I can drag one of these on. This is effectively just a sheet of paper, and Scrapbook Artist has a scissor tool. And if I was to select the scissor tool, I can then literally make a cut across that sheet of paper, and once I've done that, I just choose which bit I want to throw away. And if I throw away the top bit, that's now gone. So what this means is you can cut your own shapes out of pieces of paper to make your own items for the page. We did go a little bit further. As well as doing straight line cuts, we can also choose from a wide range of different cuts the type of scissor edges that you'd find down the craft store. So I might choose a bump edge, for example, and then I could literally just do a cut that way, and maybe a cut in the opposite direction that way. And once I've done that, I'll throw the top bit away and the bottom bit away, and then I'll move that to the side, make it bigger, and send it to the back. So we can actually start layering up different pieces of paper for our background textures. One other thing we can do with this is actually apply any of the brushes that we have to the edge of these shapes. So let's say I wanted to make this piece of paper look like it had been stitched on. If I select it, I can then go down and choose my stitches brushes, and I might choose this one, and then I can make the stitch line thicker, as thick as I want, so I can actually make it look as though it's been stitched onto my page. And if I just zoom into that, you can see the effect I've achieved, and it gives a really realistic stitch effect. Once you've finished with your work, there's a number of things you can do. You can obviously print it, and Scrapbook Artist comes with lots of different printing options. You can print it as a 12x12 scrapbook, 8x8, you could do it on letter, and incidentally Scrapbook Artist also enables you to design cards in any format that you might wish. You've also got the ability within Scrapbook Artist to save your file as a JPEG image or a TIFF or a GIF. You can save it as a PDF, and we've even got a one-click share option to mean you can very quickly upload it to a website for your friends and family to view.